What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over several tips to hopefully help you stop losing to the lock-on AR in Fortnite Chapter 7. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you like to see more, comment down below what you think of the lock-on AR, and if you guys would like to use my code in the shop when getting anything, it is EvolveJake, just like my channel name is, and it is underneath the webcam at all times. So, on its own, the lock-on AR is really not that great of a gun. The biggest problem with this weapon, I think, or the time where it's going to be the biggest, like, actual threat is when it comes to catching you off guard. So the way you limit how much you're dying to this weapon is to limit how many times you're getting caught off guard by this weapon, which is easier said than done, especially in a BR. There's times where, you know, unfortunate timing will happen, or you just happen to be in a bad spot and you'll get caught off guard. But just limiting how much you get caught off guard and how many times you're in, like, situations where that can happen easily is what's going to do best for you. When you're getting locked on, your screen will kind of dim to black and you will get a diamond above your head. And at times it can be tough to know where the person locking onto you is if they haven't shot yet, because you haven't really gotten like an audio indicator of where they are. I think that's what makes this like a much better ambushing weapon than some of the other weapons, because if somebody's shooting you with a dead IR, you know, as soon as they start shooting, probably the direction they're in, right? Like, you know, okay, that guy's back into my right. I'm going to go here because that will limit how I'm exposed to that angle. Like, you know how to properly use cover to avoid the person shooting at you because you get that immediate audio cue. But when it comes to the lock-on AR, you might know you're getting locked on, but you don't know quite where it's from yet. And by the time they start shooting, it might be too late if they wait for a full lock. Not that a full lock is just going to eliminate you, but the amount of damage they do with blocking on those 4 shots can make it hard to come back from. So as soon as you see that, you know, your screen starting to dim or that diamond above your head, you need to be reacting quick and trying to put yourself in a spot where, you know, you maybe can break their line of sight on you and stop yourself from taking a lot of damage. There is a bright orange, like kind of sniper glint type thing that happens when a player is aiming in with the lock-on AR. So if you're getting locked onto and you don't see that on your screen at all, they're probably not in your line of sight. So they're somewhere like behind you or to one of the sides. And so you just need to, you know, immediately try to get to some sort of cover that will help, you know, protect you from that. As far as reducing getting caught off guard, this is something that, you know, there's not really anything super special you can do to just like permanently solve this problem. It's going to be a factor. It's going to be something that happens in the game because battle royales kind of throw you into a lot of like somewhat random situations. You know, you're not rotating the exact same way every game. There isn't always a lot of cover where you have to go through. As often as possible, just try to put yourself near cover. Like, none of this is super special. This is all things you should be doing anyways to kind of limit how much you get caught off guard. But when you're traveling around the map or when you're kind of chilling in an area, put yourself near some sort of cover and be mindful of what pieces of cover you could potentially use that are near you at pretty much all times. Also, just limit how many angles you're exposed to. And this is something that, again, you want to be doing at all times. If you're late in the game, you don't want to be in the center of zone because then you're going to have to worry about all 360 degrees around you. Whereas if you put yourself on the edge of zone, your backside is already kind of covered because there shouldn't be anybody there. And if they are there, they're going to be taking storm damage. And so pretty much always in in-game, positioning yourself near the edge of storm is ideal. And when it comes to playing against the lock-on AR, it's the same thing. If you do need to travel through an area, try to pick a route that allows you to have more cover rather than just going out in the open and exposing yourself in every way possible. Limiting how many angles you're exposed to and making sure you have cover near you are things you should be already doing anyways, but the lock-on AR is going to be able to punish you a lot if you aren't doing those things. Also, just simply, you know, pay attention to the game and be more locked in while playing. Again, this isn't something that should be eye-opening. This is stuff you should be doing anyways, but the lock-on AR is really going to punish you not paying attention or you not being locked in. If you do need to go through some sort of problem area where there isn't much cover for you, doing so while already holding your mobility item or cover items out, that way you can react as fast as possible, is ideal. Again, this is something that you should be doing anyways. That'll help you anyways, no matter what. But, you know, if you are traveling through an area, do so with your shockwaves out. That way, when you get shot, you can immediately throw a shockwave. If you're getting locked on, you can immediately throw a shockwave. You don't have to like hesitate and swap to it, especially if you are someone who kind of panics under pressure. Trying to swap to your bunkers or trying to swap to your shockwaves in the heat of the moment might be difficult for you. Cars are also really helpful when it comes to dealing with the lock-on AR because this will allow you to travel quickly through those problem areas without being exposed. And if somebody wants to shoot at you while you're in a car, they don't damage you immediately most of the time, unless your window is already broken and they have line of sight on you. So when they start shooting, you'll know where they are. And then you can use your car as a piece of mobile cover or position yourself in such a way where they don't have a line of sight on you anymore. It also seems like the lock-on doesn't work if you are in a car. I'll have a clip on screen now where somebody was locking onto me, and then I kept getting in the car and it was breaking their lock. I believe in this clip, my car did have windows, so maybe if my windows were broken from the line of sight he had, he would have actually been able to lock onto me. But either way, having a car, I think, will make the lock-on AR a lot less effective because you can potentially just remove their lock. And then even if you don't, it's going to be harder for them to hit you. And it's something that you can quickly turn or maneuver in such a way where they no longer have line of sight on you once they start shooting and you do know where they are. Also, the lock-on AR is terrible at destroying cars because it does have a really weak damage. So when it comes to the lock-on player trying to shoot at your car, they're not really going to be much of a threat. As far as like a direct counter to the lock-on AR, the only thing that really exists out there is going to be cover items. This is the best and only, I feel like, direct counter to the lock-on AR. Personally, I prefer carrying double mobility at the moment, but if you are struggling a lot versus the lock-on AR, consider carrying bunkers or bubbles and then just using them immediately when you get locked on. If you see your screen start to dim, throw your bubble down, and then now you have more time to kind of figure out maybe where that enemy is and then plan things accordingly. The bubble isn't a permanent piece of cover, so it will go away. The bunkers are a more permanent piece of cover, but it is tough to use it if you don't know exactly where they are. You could just throw it and then go under it or something, or like inside of it. But either way, these cover items are going to be the best counter to the lock-on AR. If you're playing team game modes, having somebody carry these is just good all the time anyways, but dealing with the lock-on AR, it's going to make it even better. If you do want to use mobility to get away from the lock-on AR, one thing that I myself do wrong sometimes and that I've seen other people do is typically if you're trying to use mobility, you just want to get away from the person. And I feel like a lot of people have the mindset of like, I'm going to get far enough away to where they can't lock on me anymore, and then they're going to be useless because their gun is so weak. And that is true to an extent. But in that time, you could take a lot of damage. And if they've already opened up on you with like a full lock-on burst and you're pretty weak, just trying to shockwave away for distance or wingsuit away for distance will probably just result in you getting eliminated or taking so much damage that you're an easy cleanup if they do chase. So what you want to do instead is shockwave to a piece of cover. That way you can break their block. You have that cover to protect yourself from them. They can't lock on you anymore when you have a piece of cover in between you and them. Like they no longer have a direct line of sight on you. And you're going to take less damage this way often and be able to turn the fight versus them. Again, a lot of people panic. They're getting locked on. They don't know where it is. Or just like, I need to get out of here. But instead, try to shockwave to the nearest piece of cover. Like I said at the start of the video, if you don't see that orange sniper glint on your screen, they're probably somewhere behind you anyway. So just getting to a piece of cover that allows you to look back that direction should be what protects you. And then you can turn the fight, because the lock-on AR is not a good gun. What makes this gun good is they can lock on so much to you before you might know where they are. And if that happens, then they get a lot of damage to start the fight, and then they should be able to clean it up. But without that lock-on like ambush aspect of the weapon, it's really bad. The worst weapon in the game by far. It's just the lock that makes it good, and utilizing cover and things of that nature will allow you to neutralize how relevant that lock is. So when you use your mobility, try to get to cover and then look to damage the person and turn the fight, rather than just getting distance between you and the enemy. There might be times where you're already so far away that distance gets the job done, but if they're somewhere close to you, you're probably going to take so much damage before that, and they're going to have an easy time just chasing you and shockwaving onto you and locking on in the air while shockwaving. Obviously, this thing will lock on through bushes, so don't feel too confident in bushes. A lot of times in the end game, you might have a situation where the bush is the only piece of cover you have, but just keep in mind, you know, if you are going to use a bush, the lock-on AR is a threat. Don't be super surprised when it happens, and have a plan in mind of like what you're going to do if somebody does start using the lock-on AR. And that probably means shockwaving to a piece of cover, or if you do have cover items in your inventory, just immediately throwing that and then looking to turn the fight that way and get damage on the person using block. So if you're feeling too confident in bushes, if you're like, oh, I'm safe in this bush here, nothing can harm me, and then you start just getting beamed by the lock-on, it's going to be a problem. But if you already have a plan in mind, you maybe will die to it less. The Stealth Splash item will prevent the lock on AR from locking onto you, but I don't think this is a very good counter or something that's worth carrying entirely for that, because once you start firing back, you'll no longer be invisible. So it's like a weird, it does counter the lock on AR, but in practice it doesn't. I feel like the cover items actually counter the lock on AR better, while also being more useful in the general game. As I've said many times, the lock on AR is a weapon that's best for taking advantage of catching you off guard or maybe third partying. So if I do fight somebody that I know is using the lock on AR, I want to press that kill whenever I can. That way we can get that player out of the game. They don't go on and live to potentially catch me off guard again. So I don't think the lock on AR is like that threatening of a weapon most of the time, but it can be an annoying weapon, and it can be like an opportunistic, OP weapon if things align properly. So if I know someone's using it, I want to get them out of the game. Especially if you already have them weak, or you can make a fight that's like straight up you fighting them, not you catching you off guard, not them catching you off guard. You want to take that whenever you can, get them out of the game. And a lot of times if you do pressure these people in close range, like the people hard relying on the lock on AR, they're usually not the greatest fighters, and that's why they're relying on the lock on AR. So if you do get pressure on them in a more close range fight, when you have them weak, they'll probably completely fold. But that is going to be it. When it comes to playing against lock on AR, I'm sorry this video was not anything too drastic, like it's all very simple, basic stuff you should be doing. But the lock on AR just is good at capitalizing on mistakes that a lot of people are making. And if you make those mistakes a little bit less, or put yourself in areas where you're a little more protected, it's really not that great of an item. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. As always, if you guys did find this video to be helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.